Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and just like last year around this time, this year Apple is announcing the first new features coming to iOS 19 later this year. Now, just like last year, they typically start off with accessibility features, and they haven't mentioned device support. However, based on what we've heard so far, we do expect Apple to support everything from the iPhone 11 newer. So iPhone XS, XS Max, and iPhone XR are supposedly going to lose compatibility, but we won't know those specifics until June 9th at WWDC. So on June 9th, that's when we can expect to know about that, and Apple will typically list what devices will be compatible. So we won't know 100% until then, but all of these features also could be variable based on your device and chipset. Now, the first thing they're going to update is the App Store. Within the App Store, just like we have these sort of nutrition cards, as Apple calls them, for data linked to you, where it gives information about what things that the app knows about you or can get information about, Apple is going to bring the same support for accessibility features and highlight what is available. It will allow developers to show exactly what features they support, such as captions, voiceover, reduced motion, or anything other than that they choose to incorporate that they have included for accessibility. Apple CarPlay is going to get some updates, and those are going to be similar to what we have here. We don't know if it will get a redesign, but we will get some updates with text size changes. So if you want to change the text size, bold text, or other things, you'll be able to do that on Apple CarPlay in iOS 19. Another thing that we're going to get has to do with sound. If we go into our accessibility, we have sound recognition. If you have sound recognition enabled, Apple is adding the ability in CarPlay to recognize things such as a crying baby, as well as outside noises for horns and sirens. So those are things that we currently have, of course, in iOS 18, but they're adding additional things that work within CarPlay, such as baby crying. Sound recognition will also gain a couple other things, such as name recognition. So maybe if you're deaf or hard of hearing, you'll know when someone is calling your name. So you can enable that in sound recognition in iOS 19. Another thing that goes along with Apple CarPlay has to do with motion. If we go into our motion here, and then we go to show vehicle motion cues, this is something that's getting an update with more customization. For example, you'll be able to customize the dots that are on the screen. If you're using this, or maybe you haven't used this yet, this is very helpful if you get motion sickness, maybe you get headaches or feel nauseated. This helps a lot when you're in a car, whether you're looking at your phone or just moving along while you're riding in the passenger seat or on public transport. This really helps me as far as that goes from motion sickness, and now you'll be able to customize it a little bit more and tune it to your sense of motion. They're also adding this feature to the Mac with macOS 16 this year as well. To go along with this, Apple is also updating background sounds. Within accessibility under audio and visual, we have background sounds, and these are helpful if maybe you just want some ambient noise, but you can customize your sound here with things such as balanced noise, bright noise, rain, stream, night, fire, ocean, and other things. This time around, they're adding new EQ settings. Maybe we'll get that in Apple Music as well. That's something I know a lot of people have wanted for a long time, but they're adding EQ settings specifically for background sounds. You can also customize it in iOS 19. You'll be able to change it so that you can have it end after a certain amount of time. Maybe you want it on for an hour while you fall asleep. You'll be able to turn that on. Just like you can stop sounds when locked, you'll now be able to change it to stop based on a time frame. Apple's also adding new shortcuts to support background sounds as well if you want to incorporate that. So within the Shortcuts app, if you use that, you'll be able to use background sounds with some more customizations. And while we do have some of those, they're going to make it more available for different things. I'm sure anything they've added here, probably for the EQ and other things that you can change. Of course, going along with music and sound is Music Haptics. So if we go back here and then we go to Music Haptics, this is very helpful for those listening to music that maybe want to feel their music through their phone. Maybe you're deaf or hard of hearing, it will vibrate to the sound of the music. This is something we had added in iOS 18, and iOS 19 will add more customization for Music Haptics, where you can experience the haptics for vocals or for the entire song. You'll be able to adjust the intensity of the vibration, textures, and taps as well. So by turning this on, of course, you can feel that. Play a sample, you'll feel it sort of vibrate in the phone while it plays, and at the same time, you'll be able to customize that further. Voice control is also getting an update. I know there's some issues with it in the latest version. However, if you're a developer, Xcode will add a new mode for those with limited mobility. So not only are they going to update voice control, hopefully make it more stable, but it will work in Xcode now on Mac. And then also iOS 19 will add voice control in new languages with Korean, Arabic for Saudi Arabia, Turkish, Italian, Spanish for Latin America, Mandarin Chinese in Taiwan, English for Singapore, and then Russian. All of those will be available in iOS 19. Now there's a new feature coming with iOS 19 called Accessibility Reader. Accessibility Reader is a new mode that will be in iOS 19 that can help users with low vision or dyslexia read more easily on iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Vision Pro. It will be built directly into the Magnifier app, where Apple likes to add some things here that use visualizations, and you'll be able to customize things that you're looking at as far as text in the background. For example, if you use your camera, you can maybe look at a document and then transform that into a more legible format for easier reading, whether it's a book, poster, or anything else in the real world. You'll be able to change font, color, and spacing, or change spoken content as well as far as the way it responds to it. So that's something that's coming in the Magnifier app as Apple keeps adding more features here. Also, personal voice is something they added a while ago, and I think that's super helpful if maybe you're someone that's losing your voice, you want to capture what it sounds like. This is going to be updated. If we go into personal voice down here under speech, personal voice, you'll see I've added mine, and you can go into it, you can name it, export the recording, but it takes a while to set up. And now it's only going to take 10 phrases to set up. Apple's leveraging their AI processing and neural processors to make this a little bit easier. It will also create better sounding representations of your voice that are more smooth and natural, according to Apple. And they're also adding support for Spanish. So this is something that I've shared a little bit. Personal voice is really nice. You can share it across devices if you want to use it, and then use it in different apps to read things out, or just have a save of your voice itself. Eye tracking is getting an update where you can now use switch or dwell to make selections in iOS 19. They're improving keyboard typing, so you'll use eye tracking or switch control with a new keyboard dwell timer, and it will reduce the steps if you're using it with switches. Additionally, Apple is also enabling quick path typing on the keyboard. So if you've ever gone in and used quick path, if we go into notes, so if you've ever used quick path in notes, typing something such as, "Hi, how are you today?" You can do that. It sort of gets it right, but you get the idea. You'll be able to use your eyes to do this on iPhone and Vision Pro. Apple is also adding a new update to allow for brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, so maybe someone with Neuralink or other neuro implants can control iPhone, iPad, and Vision Pro more easily. So that's something that will be available, and if you have a supported device, you'll be able to use that. So all of those features are coming with eye tracking. At the bottom of our accessibility settings, we have Assistive Access. Under Assistive Access, Apple is updating this so that it will have a new TV app. So you can use Assistive Access to have larger icons or customize it to make them easier to press. And if we go into Manage Apps, you can see the first-party apps, such as Contacts, Calls, Camera, Magnifier, Messages, Music, and Photos. They're going to add a new TV app that will help those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Also, something I think is really clever that they're adding is the ability to share accessibility settings. Apple is making it easy to share, whether it's a friend's device or maybe a public device that you need to use where you need to access those accessibility features, but you don't want to take the time to set everything up. You can temporarily share it to one of those devices if you need to use it. If we go back into our voiceover settings and scroll down, Apple is updating Braille in a big way. Braille Access is a new feature that will allow you to use your iPhone, iPad, Mac, or Apple Vision Pro to easily take notes in Braille. So it has an app launcher built in that will automatically launch when you start to type using Braille or a Braille input device, and when you take notes in Braille, you can perform calculations using Nemeth Braille. Users will be able to open Braille-ready format files directly using Braille Access, and there's a new form of live captions which will allow you to transcribe conversations in real time on Braille displays. So that's something that's going to come with iOS 19. If you're using Braille, that should help tremendously. Live captions is also getting an update here. Now, we thought we were going to get live translations with AirPods, and we may see that a little bit later since that's not really an accessibility feature, but live captions is getting an update for many different languages. iOS 19 will add more languages such as English for India, Australia, UK, and Singapore, Mandarin Chinese for mainland China, Cantonese for mainland China and Hong Kong, Spanish for Latin America and Spain, French for France and Canada, Japanese, German for Germany, and Korean. So all of those things will be added with live captions. Now, some other devices are getting accessibility updates as well that go along with this, such as watchOS 12. watchOS 12, you'll be able to use the Apple Watch microphone to stream directly to AirPods. So you could use that for live listen, make it easier to hear, use iPhone hearing aids or Beats headphones or made for iPhone hearing aids as well. So all of those things will be supported. You'll also be able to capture with your iPhone mic and have it transcribed directly on your Apple Watch using live captions with watchOS 12. So that'll be something you'll be able to do in real time from device to device. Now, the magnifier app is something we've had on iPhone for some time. They're incorporating new features, as I mentioned earlier, and it's now coming to Mac with macOS 16. It will allow you to use your camera on a Mac, a USB camera connected to a Mac, or even continuity camera with your iPhone, and then you can zoom into your surroundings, get a better look. It can also read documents using Desk View, or use the new accessibility reader I mentioned earlier, where you could maybe look at a document on a screen. Apple sort of has a video of this, and then maybe change it to text that's more legible for you. So these features are coming to macOS as well. And I mentioned before that Apple Vision Pro is getting some updates as well, such as Accessibility Reader. However, when you're using Apple Vision Pro, and this will probably be with VisionOS 3, when enabled, you can use the cameras on the front of the Vision Pro to zoom into your environment to more easily read text around the room. So again, this will go along with all of the other accessibility features using these cameras to make it easier to read things. Also, you'll have live recognition, which brings the ability to describe what Vision Pro sees in its surroundings, and then it will let you know what the object is, if it's a document, it can read it, and more. Also, a new API will allow approved developers to use the camera tools for visual interpretation in apps such as Be My Eyes. So these are great updates if you want to use Vision Pro to look around the room, understand the environment, describe what you're looking at as you're actually turning your head. So all of those things are coming with accessibility in iOS 19, watchOS 12, macOS 16, and also iPadOS 19. Now, there's a couple other things worth mentioning as well. If we go to Apple's website that they updated today, and on Apple's Newsroom website, all of the features I mentioned are listed here as well. You can see visual representations of some of them, such as magnifier on Mac, and if we scroll down, you can see the different things I mentioned with accessibility that I used in this video. So lots of great things here, but if we keep scrolling down, you can see at the bottom, there's going to be a lot to celebrate Global Accessibility Awareness Day with Apple. Apple Retail is introducing dedicated tables spotlighting accessibility features on a variety of devices. Apple Music will share the story of artist Kid OK and the power of music haptics for users who are deaf or hard of hearing. We also have Apple Fitness Plus updates, Apple TV Plus updates, Apple Books, podcasts, news, and more. Now, a couple other things I wanted to mention was a new shortcut that they introduced today that I think is really great. It's called Hold That Thought. It's a shortcut that prompts users to capture and recall information in a note so interruptions don't derail their flow. So there's this shortcut here. We can go into it, go into the gallery here, and it says Hold That Thought. So run the shortcut and select Capture to capture a screenshot of what you're doing, any calendar events in the next hour, current open web pages in Safari, Mac only, and clipboard contents. You'll then be prompted to write short notes about what you are doing and what you are about to do. Run the shortcut again and select Recall to find the last created note with all the captured information. So we can add the shortcut here. So that's something we've added. Go into our shortcuts and tap Hold That Thought. So we can capture or recall the last stopping point, and that's something I'll probably utilize all the time now. Apple has also launched a new shortcut today, Shortcuts on Apple Vision Pro. If we go into this, you'll see it here where it says Apple Vision Pro Accessibility Assistant. Creates a summary of accessibility features and resources by asking questions about a person's needs. Select the needs of the user, choose as many as needed, create a note populated with Apple support page links and resources on suggested built-in accessibility features. So that's something that you can add and then use on your Apple Vision Pro if you want more information. If we go into it, you can choose a category of conditions, add more later if necessary. So that's something they've added today that's available now, and I'll link those in the description below. Additionally, Apple announced one other thing called Sound Therapy today in a partnership with Universal Music Group. So they have different sound categories, and if we scroll down, you'll see a few different things. So we have some for clearer focus, deeper relaxation, and better sleep. If we go into music, you can search for sound therapy and you'll see sleep for Apple Music. It was updated 18 hours ago. So if you're trying to sleep, you just want some music to help with that, with sound therapy, it's available now. So all of those things are coming to iOS 19, along with many other things, such as probably a whole redesign that many have been talking about. People like Mark Gurman have said that Apple is going to update this with all new visuals, maybe round icons, a new way to interact with iPhone, and much more. Of course, Apple's not going to show that off in the latest update here. They're just going to show the basics, and maybe they'll even change these visuals after the update is released to the public or released for the first time at WWDC. So all of those things, of course, are coming to iOS 19, along with many other features. These should be super helpful for those using accessibility features, and let me know if you use any accessibility features. I've heard from many of you over the years that use these, and let me know how they're going and if you're excited for any of them as well. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.